Good day, guys. In today's ammo guide, the second one, we're going to go into the 308 here. I figured this would be a good one to do next, just because it's another tier 5 rifle, sort of the competitor to the 270. And we did the 270 last time, and up until now, the 270 has been outshining the 308. In the game. But now that all the ammo has been reworked, it turns out the 308 has closed the distance. And in some cases, it might actually be the better choice than the 270. So like the video before, we'll just go over a little bit of basics, then we'll get into the fancier info. The stuff from Toothless and Liquid Fire that have been busy doing the sciencing. That looks like this. The cavity damage information from Toothless. And the energy measurement is huge. Shared spreadsheet info thing that Liquid Fire has made. And we won't be looking like right directly on them. There's a lot of info on there, and it's very small print. So basically, I just take the info and I try to summarize it into some useful form for the average player. So with the 308, well, we have our monoblock. It's a very accurate rifle here. It's got the tightest grouping in the game, matching the 270 Armad and the SSG-1 6.5. I don't think any of that info has changed. It should be the same. But yeah, the two monoblocks, this one and the Armad, are definitely excellent tier 5 rifles. It's just, do you want to use it in 270 or do you want it in 308? Before it was sort of a no-brainer. The 270 was winning every time. Now there is more complexity to it. Okay, so for the 308, I think it looks fairly similar to the 270. Well, it's got the Barnes TSX, but we have two cores here instead, because the 270 had... Or was it? Yeah, it had one core and then the trophy bonded. But yeah, same sort of setup. The polymer tip is the free one. And then we have the Barnes TSX hollow point, and then we got a core, a soft point here. So I think the simplest thing to sort of get out of the way is the cavity damage discussion first. So between the three of these, the cavity damage cone is fairly similar. The 308, even before the changes, always had a really wide cone. No, not a wide cone, but a long one, where all the energy was stretched out, and it sort of peaked later on. All three of these still share the same sort of cone shape. The only difference is how long the cone stretches, and it's mostly based on energy. But the peak changes a little bit. Typically, the soft point peaks the furthest in, and then the polymer tip is kind of in the middle, and then the hollow point peaks earlier. Sort of like you would expect. So unlike the 270, where the 270 had the Barnes TSX have the energy or cavity energy peak really early, this one still peaks damage earlier than these other two, but not super early. It's still a fairly stretched out thing, which is what the 308 is sort of known for, taking that cavity damage and just kind of pushing it all the way through the animal. Where the 270 Barnes TSX hollow point, it is a Barnes TSX, right? Yeah. It was more about let's get as much energy into that first organ that's in the way as possible. All right, now which ammunition to actually use and when is going to be a little more tricky, because I was puzzled at this for a little while. When I first looked at it, we had this the polymer tip one, which is free, and then we have the soft point here. Now, on the face of it, these two, like out to like 300 meters, perform fairly similar. Like all the attributes of the cartridge are the same, except the soft point hits for a few hundred joules harder, like a couple hundred joules or something like that. I'm just looking at the numbers now. 200 to 300, yeah. Like on the short range shots, you're only looking at 100 meters, 100 joules difference between these two. So the soft point hits 100 joules more than the polymer tip at 100 meters. And then at 200 meters, this one's hitting about 200 more. So, you know, this one, as the distance increases, this one's hitting a little, like this one's carrying the energy with it better than the Polymer tip, and they're both 180 grain here. But when I was using it at my closer range shots, you know, 100, 200 meters or so, basically the selection was simple. This one's free. This one costs money, or the gold doubloons, but it performs slightly better. Like you get extra joules. So this was kind of simple. You either just use this. This one's fine. This one's excellent cartridge to use. Lots of energy and you know, equivalent to the 270 one, like up close. It's just fine. But if you want to spend a little bit of money, you can get one that that performs better. So I'm like, well, that's a simple choice. You know, spend some money, get a little slightly upgraded 308. But it goes a little deeper than that once you start looking at like how far, like out to the farther ranges. So when you're fairly close range, that's exactly what it is. You know, if you're under, you know, if you're at 200, 250 meters, underneath 300 meters, well, 300 is kind of pushing it. You know, 200 meters or below, you know, spend the extra money for the extra hit damage if you'd like, or stick with this. You're probably fine with this, kind of thing. But the difference comes in when you're taking the longer shots. The soft point holds its energy far better than the free one here. So typically when you use these ones, is you can just use this one out to 200 meters just fine. You don't really have to worry about this one. But if you want a few extra joules, go ahead and use this one all the time. But if you're going to start taking some longer shots with a 308, you're going to want the soft point. It holds the energy extremely well over the distance here, because we're talking about the numbers, say at 800 meters. If you're taking a huge long shot, 800 meters, this one's hitting about 1700 joules still. Like it's you know, it's 800 meters out. It's dropped a lot, but it's hitting at 1700 still. You know, there's still a lot of energy in that bullet left. This one's hitting at 1100, so you got 600 joules difference out in distance. So, but it still kind of stands. This is the upgraded one. This is your long distance shot here, and this one hits harder at every single distance. All right, so you know, if you want to make sure the shot's going to count, go for this guy here. But if you're worried about hunt rating, you can use this one, you know, to bring the energy down a little bit. But I wouldn't really worry about it too much. If it's only like 100 joules or 200 joules, I wouldn't worry too much. Okay, so that's fairly simple now. Here's your harder hitting long distance cartridge. This is your decent up close cartridge, but it doesn't have the long distance. Its hunter sense dot actually disappears after 800 meters. Like that little hunter sense dot. These ones will appear past a kilometer. But this one's little hunter sense dot disappears after 800 meters or so. All right, so now it comes to the Barnes TSX. So this one, of course, the cavity damage, like the cavity damage is shorter, but not a whole lot shorter, and it just sort of peaks a bit earlier. But it's not a significant difference to really be too worried about. Now this one, the hollow point, actually is... It gets a little complicated because at 100 meters, this is actually the weakest one, but it carries energy kind of like the soft point, so it overtakes the Polymer tip really soon. So at 200 meters, this one's now second place. So at 100 meters, it's first place, second place, third place, and 200 meters, it's first place, second place, third place. So it's real quick. Basically, the Polymer tip doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because these are like the same weights. Well, anyways, the Polymer tip seems to have some kind of drag to it or something like that, which it doesn't quite make sense. I mean, this one's lighter and less muzzle energy, but for some reason this one's retaining the energy better, and so is this one. But the Polymer tip, this is why some of these things don't make any sense. But anyways, this one's got some drag to it for whatever reason. So the Barnes TSX takes over the Polymer tip just at 200 meters. And then after that, it's always higher. So this is kind of your middle damage one here, except for at 100 meters. So it's a little complicated. I don't even know why you'd switch to this one. This is going to be, you know, following the sort of pattern where we have a third cartridge that we don't really have any use for. Because at 100 meters, it's the weakest, but at 200 meters and beyond, it's in second place. So I don't, and it's only in second place by like 100 joules, and then 150 joules, and then, I'm just looking at it now, it's only like 100 or 150 joules weaker than the soft point, at like all points, even all the way out to a kilometer. Oh, it actually retains the energy better than the soft point. By the time a kilometer comes, or like 900 meters, or even 800 meters, I didn't realize this till now, the Barnes TX actually is catching up to the soft point here. So the Barnes TSX hollow point has the best flight characters. Does it show on the graph? Let me just see. Oh, they look identical there. Oh yeah, this one definitely shows dropping sooner. But these ones are really close together. Well, you can barely even tell the difference there. Oh, that's entertaining though. Oh, it does show it's a little lower here. Okay. So the hollow point is carrying energy. So basically, if you're shooting beyond a kilometer, liquid fire doesn't have the measurements beyond a kilometer. But I imagine at, you know, 1.2 kilometers, right, where in like the render disappears, this one might be your strongest. So it's one of those things where it's like, what? It's the weakest at 100 meters, but it's going to be the strongest at 1.2 kilometers. You basically have no scenario to use this. So that's, you know, I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. So that's my ramble about the 308. We're not really doing any hunting today. I just wanted to get that out of there. I think that's all the info. I know my 270 video took a while, but that's all the info on that 308. So it's, yeah, basically use the free one if you're up close. Spend some money if you want some extra joules on the soft point. And then for the Barnes TSX, it holds the energy the best, but at no point until 1.2 kilometers does it become the strongest cartridge. And it's not even that much energy different than the like if you're trying to go down a tier or like reduce your energy for hunt rating, it's not even that much less than the soft point. So at that point you would switch to this polymer tip because it drops energy faster. So anyways, that's the 308 for you. That's what they're doing. We'll see if any kind of changes come. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Everybody take care. See you in the next one.